So we're back with another episode of Go With Your Palate. I'm Joe Wagner. I got my counterpart, Chris Rubio. We're going to talk about whatever the fuck we want to, but also throw in some entrepreneurship and maybe some wine tips and facts and whatever else we want.
Yes.
So should be fun. But first things first, we're going to talk about the subjects, but I made you a special coffee.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Bottoms up. Cheers.
All right. Can I just give a little insight? Is that Joe thinks he knows how to make a coffee, so I just let him make it. I didn't see what he did to it, so...
I just said I was going to make it like I made mine.
Whatever happens to me on this show, that's what happened.
What do you think? What's in it?
What dude? What? What did you put in this, bro?
Do you like it?
Is there like sparkling something in there?
Yeah.
What is it, dude? Is it sparkling water and coffee?
No, there were no more dairy products in the fridge, so it's Coca-Cola.
What? Wait, are you serious?
Yeah, it's coffee and Coke.
Coffee and Coca-Cola?
Yeah. A little fizzy.
Just coffee and Coca-Cola?
It's funny, yes, just coffee. It tastes almost bitter. Surprisingly.
Feeling a little weird.
Oh, and 40 milligrams of THC. Just give it a minute here.
Wait, don't tell me. We'll find out. The show will say what.
All right. So what are the subjects we're going with right now?
I don't know, bro.
I let you write them down.
Oh my gosh, you know what? Because this happens. Yeah, I could tell he wants me to say it because I came up with the topics or whatever, but he wants to blame it on me. But they're really good. All right. So topics today. We're gonna start off with talking about Joe's swimsuit line that he had. He was in the swimsuit business. I don't know if you know, but you're gonna find out. We're gonna get details on that.
A little known fact.
Yep.
And I got some stories for it.
Yes, he's good. That's what we're looking to hear.
This will be what we call an entrepreneurial failure.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what you have to do. You have to shoot your shot.
Yeah.
You have to be fearless. And like, hey, if it works out, that's amazing always. But if it doesn't, dude, you just keep going.
Yeah.
You don't give up.
And you learn.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you learn. Next, we're going to be talking about non-interventionist winemaking.
One of my favorite subjects.
One of his favorite.
Some of my favorite people are non-interventionist makers because they make my job easy.
Yeah.
All I got to do is actually try, and my wine is better.
I think but their job is supposed to be pretty easy, right? Because you're not supposed to really... Are you supposed to be doing anything, or?
Yeah, I mean, no. You're supposed to be doing nothing, and the wine is supposed to make itself from some higher being, and then the fortunate part is that it tastes like crap.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, we're gonna get into that. Okay. But we're gonna do swimsuit first, and then we're gonna end it with a topic that I know Joe loves, because he is a dog lover, and so am I. We're gonna talk a little bit about pups. Being puppy daddies.
Let's do it. I might cry then at the end of this.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. My eyes are already kind of sweating.
All right.
Yeah. And then also, wait, and one more thing. I'm just gonna say, we're gonna be ending with horrible bosses. We do got some good.
That's right.
We got a good story. But yeah, there won't be any flowers.
No flowers today.
No.
It's not the season, man. It's like we're just like tail into winter.
Are you learning something? Because that's important to us as an education. I'm learning that coffee and Coke is something that is actually pretty good.
Yeah, but it's not your first choice.
Weird. Not my first choice.
But look, the floral segment, that is important because so many guys out there just forget like that they have a significant other that like might like flowers as a reminder of their love, right? And I'm thinking about you. But when you do it from scratch, it means so much more. Most of the time, like if you're a dude, you got a girlfriend or a wife, and you do this for the first time, they're going to think one of two things. Number one, he definitely didn't do this himself.
Okay.
And number two, what girl taught him how to do this? And was that like in the last week? Because is he cheating on me?
Oh my God.
You got to get in the girl mind. They're like, yeah, they go crazy. They spiral. So you got to learn how to ease into the floral arrangement thing about like how I did this for you, where you learned it. You got to say where you learned it.
Yes.
So that it's not like just this out of the blue and like, because they're going to spiral after the initial like impact of, oh, so sweet. And then be like, you didn't fucking do this yourself. That's bullshit. Now I got questions.
And we're getting like in some deep psychology about it.
I've got some experience with both crazy and sane women. So
Wait. One of the quick thing. Don't you think though there's some effort in actually picking out the perfect bouquet? If you don't have time, say you're like you're rushed on time, you don't have time to throw it together. Do you give any credit to that, or are you just like nah, that still doesn't cut it for you? You don't do that. I guess is what I'm asking.
I'd prefer not to. I mean, yeah, I've done it, but like
You have done it.
yeah, usually that's like especially if you're sending it to somebody or whatever, right? So it's not like
It doesn't have that.
your aunt broke her hip or something. You're like,
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna send you flowers. It's
Yeah.
like I'm not gonna go build a bouquet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So but
Glad we covered that. All right, let's get into it, dude.
all right, you're driving the boat today.
Yeah, I am driving the boat, and if I was like driving a boat, I'd want like a hot like swimsuit. You know what I mean? Like I'd be wanting to rock like a Speedo that people know that I'm coming with style. And
So I will say it wasn't just women's swimwear. We did men's swimwear too.
I know.
So we might still have some Speedos in warehouse if you want one.
I had done some modeling for you over the years of your business. I'm just kind of sad because like when it came to like the swimsuit business, like I never got that call, and I don't know, like maybe I missed the message. Like back then, it was kind of probably easier to miss that. Or did you?
Well, we had specific parameters on what we were looking for. we needed 6'1" and
Oh come on!
6'1" and 220.
Oh come on, dude! Dude. I run a tight ship, okay? I was really working hard. Even when I knew the business was going on, I was extra training. I was like going through cutting phase like the whole year.
You're just ready for the call.
Waiting for the call. I didn't want to be like pushy.
Yeah.
But maybe I should have.
Get up to 220.
Yeah. I am 220. Anyways, okay. So let us know, bro. Like how did this start? Why? Yeah.
There are a couple reasons that it started. So number one, I was already pretty well entrenched in wine, but I saw that wine had a big issue with like social media presence. Like nobody gave a damn about wine. It's like it's boring. It looks like lifestyle stuff, and everybody's Instagram and Facebook look the same, and nobody's doing anything cool. And you look at like different industries, and you're like, well, who's doing well in social media? And it was like fashion and cosmetics. Really? Like some like those, right? So I don't know anything about cosmetics. So we were looking at fashion and
Wait, you don't know anything about cosmetics?
I know the very basics.
Okay.
Like if Rachel had me do her makeup, she'd look scary. Really scary. So looked at segments of the fashion industry and looked at sunglasses first actually. And then
Really?
Yeah. And then I found out that like 98% of all sunglasses are made by like one of two manufacturers in the world. And it was all like there were, so I mean, you're talking everything from like Gucci to like your shit that you buy at the gas station. Same company makes that stuff.
Whoa, hold up, dude.
Yeah.
This is wow, you just dropped a bombshell.
So you didn't know this?
Dude, I just
Yeah, and then there's a few like really boutique companies that are like doing their own shit now. Like Aconi and Dita, like they all have great quality product, but you're also paying like $500 to $800 for a pair of sunglasses, and they look like engineered specimens of just beautiful, artwork. But everything else, it's just some shitty company doing plastic injection molding, or like.
But you're still paid, but you're saying like some of the same companies, okay, like a gas station company would be the same one that's making the ones for Gucci, but the Gucci ones, you could be spending. Like you're comparing those other products. Like they're like, oh, they're doing it on their own, so they're more quality product. But you're
buying the brand. You're not buying the product.
I'm buying. Well,
if you buy those,
I do it.
That's.
I have a wife that loves those sunglasses.
So that's what I learned. And so your wife is a brand whore.
No, she's not. Whoa, dude! Cut the episode. We're gonna leave that out, dude. I can't let that stand. You think I'm gonna dude?
Oh man,
dude, hey,
sorry, I got one too.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
Oh, we going Will Smith on this? Yeah.
You're nice fuzzy. See, you do moisturize, don't you?
I do actually. Yeah. Gotta stay young, looking young. All right. So swimwear was the next one, and I thought it was cool because it would, you could go both men and women's. and have some fun with it and bring like kind of this new vibe into wine and kind of cross our wines into the swimwear world. So started doing swimwear and learned about it quick and learned what I didn't like about it. Not as quick, but we did a pretty good run of it. Like we had our social media running, we were doing our campaigns. We got into like the swimwear issue of Sports Illustrated.
Oh heck
so,
yeah! Oh, here
yeah,
we go.
there you go.
Whoa, hold up. So we're just bringing it up right now. We're actually checking this out.
I don't think that's one of our suits there, though. Maybe it is.
We're bringing up
I don't know.
Sports Illustrated.
What, this is all Christy Brinkley?
Yeah, did she model for you?
No, but maybe she did for Sports Illustrated. So we did pretty good, but we did like some fashion shows at Miami Swim Week. What was really cool about it was we'd have our wine there. So like we were bringing our wine into these events, and then we'd do crossover events where we'd be showcasing the swimwear and also the wine at like South Beach Food and Wine and stuff like that. So we actually got like a lot of attention where it was just a point of differentiation for the wine world to have swimwear. And so people could come in and taste our wines, and then if they wanted to get a bikini, they could get a bikini or a pair of trunks. And then we started seeing social media like pushing on that. We never really like it, didn't blow up to like millions of followers or anything like that, but it was pretty fun still. We had a good time doing it, got to do some great events. What I learned though was that the wine industry is like full of generally good people. And the reason is because if you're an ass or a liar or a cheat or, whatever in the wine industry, any level of it, predominantly, but you start at like the core, right? Growers and vintners. So if you're a bad person in that segment, you have a very short lifespan in the industry. You get kicked out. You might go to another region, but your name, it's going to carry, and your reputation will carry with your name wherever you go.
Yeah.
So eventually you find yourself out of it. And there's been like countless examples of this. So happens also at the sales and distributor level, and also the like restaurant and retail gets away with more, I think. That's the thing, because like if you're a som and you're an ass and you're, like cheating and whatever else, skimming off the top, well, you're like, San Francisco doesn't like me anymore, so I'm moving to New York.
Yeah,
and you can still be a som.
They can get away with it.
They can get away with it easier, but at like the distribution and below level, all the way down to the grower vintner, you don't get away with that shit. So back to swimwear, everybody sucks in that fashion world that I saw.
Are we?
It was.
Wait, do we want to use absolute for this? Do we want to say everyone?
Not everyone. Yeah,
because we want to,
But a lot. A lot.
Is this coming from someone that has experience?
People were flaky, like they didn't follow through with what they said they'd do. People wouldn't pay their bills, like flat out, just ghost you, and you're like, you owe me like 10 grand. Like I pay my bills on time. Why can't you? Just cancellations and shit. Like it was like everybody wanted to do the bare minimum, but look like they were the top mark in the fashion world, right? And you realize how fake it is.
We have it up right now, and we're just taking a look because it's still live.
It is still live, yeah, but nothing's been posted. And what do you notice about this?
What do I notice? I mean, I'm just.
What's different from Instagram now?
Oh God, yeah, yeah. So it's a bunch of still shots.
Yeah, there's no
videos. Yeah, and
keep on going.
This is actually kind of cool too, because it's like you have a little like a time capsule right here in like social media that's just living because it's just been there. But dude, I'm almost like, if you compare this to now like another like swimsuit brand on Instagram, like Everlane.
Yeah, is it it's like all videos now?
Yeah, well, I'm sure.
See, now we're getting into some of the fun stuff here. So like keep going down. You get some of the more exciting, cuts and whatever else. So you can see like it was kind of like for the women, it was a little skimpier. There's a little bit of wine in there. Yeah, this is all like pre-reels. This is like pre-video.
Oh, wait, hold on. There's like you just got like a random like dog in the tree.
Everybody likes dogs in a tree, man. Come on.
Yeah, that's cute. Well, we are going to be talking about dogs.
It was a little bit about embracing your own beauty and thirst pick.
Yeah, what was up there? I'm just saying.
There you go, the champagne gun. That was cool.
The champagne gun. There's an actual gun that you like load up with champagne.
Yeah, it only holds magnums.
And it only holds magnums.
Yep.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, that's
So I mean, so now now you got videos. So if I did something totally different now, like, I mean, first of all, I wouldn't rely on people to produce the swimwear. I'd bring that all in house, and then I'd probably just go direct and do it all online. Like I wouldn't go to retailers and stuff like that.
Well,
So
I mean, this is
because that's where you end up working with people that are not honest, right? They're not paying and they're not getting shit done and whatever else. So back to the
Joe, Chad,
like
I'm
that
still
was
rolling through.
like that was a fun shoot.
Hold on a second. Okay, like we get this is so boring. I don't even understand this social media anymore. Like there's all this still stuff. Where's the videos? Where's some movement?
I know it is boring.
Can we just shoot up to the top? I just want to see what would you get to of your followership? Where were you at? Let's get the stats.
And I'm going to say, if anybody wants to buy this page,
15.4K.
15,000 followers.
What, don't care.
Hey, can you give us the date on the last post? Because I don't even remember when that was. Does it say March?
It was
2018.
March 2nd, 2018.
Going back 5 years, almost 5 years. Yeah, 5 years.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, so if you guys want to buy this page, all you got to do is replace all the still shots with videos.
Yeah.
But no, I learned a lot about other businesses, and I love the space we're in with wine and spirits, and it's a good space, good people, and it's about like family and community. You get everybody around you, and it's good. With this, it's like, how do I make a quick buck? Whose dick am I going to suck to get this gig in the catwalk? And that goes for guys and girls. That's not just like exclusive.
Wait, are you saying that was part of the business that you didn't like or that you do like?
I didn't even get involved in that side. I knew that was a slippery slope.
Because you've always been like hands-on. Okay, there's no pun intended in that, but you have been with like your business, creative and design.
You're talking about swimwear, fashion?
Swimwear,
yeah,
fashion. So were you there with the shoots, kind of directing that? Where did it coming up with the designs of the swimwear? That's what I want.
Started off with designs and just drawing what they look like.
Okay.
Where do you want like the scrunch? What for like even the menswear? Where do you want the scrunch butt? Like
the scrunch butt.
It was like a fad back in like the mid 2000s, and now girls are just going straight like thongs. So I'm all for it. I'm here for it. I'm cool.
Yeah.
But no, so you started with that, and then you started looking at embellishments, and so. One of the cool things was like you'd actually go down to like these massive buildings that sold like all of the components. You could look at fabrics, you could look at people who are doing printing on fabrics, you could look at all of the embellishments like beads and lace material, whatever, like all this shit, and then you grab all these samples and you start designing something, and then you put it into fabrication, and then you got sizing and all that, and so I did a lot of that stuff when it came to photography. There were a few shoots we did here that I was there for, but I generally didn't like I wasn't doing like the art direction.
Well, I like that because you have your photography background.
Yeah.
I think, you went to Brooks Institute.
Yeah. But it was also like there was, it was so much more structured because you're like, okay, for e-com and for, you wanted to make sure you got all the shots, but then you also wanted your advertisement shots. So,
yeah. For your different platforms and stuff. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And
then so that was that was all good. That was fun.
Yeah.
But then on the wine like crossover thing, that was I think one of the most fun parts.
Okay, cool.
We were like orchestrating, like we're doing a booth over here with our sparkling and rosé. You got our the women's swimwear over here, and then you got whatever over here. We were doing cigars too. So guys would come in and, grab a cigar and a glass of Pinot Noir and like be looking at swimwear in like Miami. That's another thing.
Yeah.
I don't like Miami that much anymore. And it was because I saw that side. I saw the dark and dirty side of Miami and this like the cheap horror nature of it. I'm like, I still go there and visit and shit, but like, man, you give me like 2 days. It's just like Vegas. Like you go to Vegas for like 2 nights max.
Yeah.
And then otherwise you're just like.
The third night.
You wake up after
it gets weird.
Yeah, you wake up after the third night and you're like,
yeah, maybe that's what you want.
Put me on a stretcher and get me home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that was it. So I ended up getting out of the industry shortly after I got a divorce.
Yeah. But so I could see how that linked to the last thing that we discovered. but for okay, so with the crossover, I would imagine though
There we
that
go.
was
Got one of the
that's fine.
fashion shows
Okay,
up
here
there.
we go. Like these
Yeah.
fashion shows. Oh yeah. So we're checking out right now, like the Mia Marcel swimwear fashion show. Look at this. You had like the runway and everything. Was this? Do you know? Was this one in Miami?
I think this was Miami. This is one of the Miami swim leagues.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I was making the sounds.
And then
like
you
all the
learn about
turns and-
like models and stuff like so.
Yeah.
She's a gorgeous young lady. She would be classified as ethnically ambiguous, and I never even heard that term. I'm like, really? This is where marketing has gone. It's just like, do we even need to talk about like their race or lack of race in that case? It was really, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're like, so nobody knows if you're, a mix of white, Asian descent, African American, like, or, whatever it is. It was just really, it was an odd element in the model world. Like, it's a very shallow world. Like, I mean, like, not even an inch deep. It's bad.
Wow. And then that's what they pushed. I mean, you're saying that's what they pushed for.
Yeah. Yep. Like that right there.
Okay. Well, see, that's not even okay. So right now we're looking at something that looks like to me like a dress, but I'm guessing that's like what you wear. It's like a
that's a cover up.
That
Chris?
you cover up.
That's a cover up. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Well, I mean, you're the expert.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
All right. So what next? You want to?
Wait, I always want to know. So when it came to design, I was like thinking, what I imagined is you were kind of like, did you ever see the guy that was like Adam Sachs? So it was a guy with the scissors, like the scissors guy who would like be.
Yeah.
So I imagine that maybe you would have like the models come in sometimes and they're wearing like those the swimsuit, but it's like a full like bodysuit, and then you come in with the scissors, and maybe you're like designing it and cutting it all up.
I mean, I wish I could tell you a good story about that. I wish I could tell you a good story about that.
Is this design? Does this ever come into the...
Dude, this guy's just a perv finding a way to touch women. I don't know anything about him, but so that was one of my rules. Like, it's like I've never wanted any like issues. So I was always like, if there needed to be something adjusted, like trim it in like a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch on the backs or all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'd have a lady do it.
Totally. I mean, this looks professional.
I think these girls are mostly like totally fine with these guys like touching them for the gram or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But no, I had some firm boundaries where, I didn't ever want somebody coming back and like sexual harassment or whatever. Like, so it's like always like, nope, gotta stay safe on this. I don't be a fucking target.
But I'm guessing that like having the swimsuit and the wine crossover, like you mentioned, made it like an interesting booth to visit, right? Like, were you able
booth? And
were you able to go to any wine event and bring that in?
Oh yeah, sometimes we did. At some events we'd have like girls like in their swimwear and pouring wine, that sort of thing. But like classy, it was like more like the we call it like they weren't wearing like a bikini and like it wasn't like full butt showing or anything. It was more like this old school like 30s 40s one piece, the big sun hat, yeah, so stuff like that.
Nice.
But mostly it was like off out of the event, like a bungalow. We'll call it an activation. So like you'd rent out a place like right on the beach, and then you'd have like a soiree sort of thing, and then everybody would come in. You'd invite people from both sides, fashion and wine, and kind of get that whole mix going, have some music and whatever else. It was fun.
Sweet. Would you ever would you get back into it?
No. Hell to the no.
I was one more thing. I was wondering about like when it came to materials and stuff like that. Like when you're talking about, were you ever focused on getting a certain kind of material, like organic or
no?
It was
like, that wasn't the gig. Wasn't the gig. No, you're going for like luxury fabric, the feel, the look, the longevity, all that stuff, and yeah. So it doesn't really fall in line with the I made this bikini out of tweed, and it's going to chafe your vagina for We don't want we don't want chafing.
I don't know if that would be a selling point. We wouldn't want that. Would you have? Okay, so do you have like a top story of like that you could tell of an experience, something that went down in Miami, or
I mean,
It
nothing.
was just
Well, I do have a story, but I actually wasn't involved in it. So, may I?
if you'd like to.
So there were I think it was two girls from marketing, which were crossover between wine and swimwear, right? One girl from the swimwear kind of fabrication side of things, so or like the production side, and then one guy that works within the company.
Yeah.
On the wine side predominantly. He went out to this there was a shoot. I wasn't going to the shoot. And they were somewhere they were in Florida, but I think it was like just outside of Miami, whatever it was. And so the four of them, they go out, they like have had fun, they were shooting whatever else, and they all decide to go jump in the ocean. But they're all in their clothes, and so they decide like, hey, it's a fine idea to go skinny dipping. First of all, this guy, you got to think like he's got three girls, and they're all like, fine looking.
Yes.
And so he's like, I'm going skinny dipping. All these people work together, first of all, and some of them are married.
Yeah.
So I hear the story after. So they all take their clothes off, and first thing, Miami, you don't leave your shit anywhere. Like, it's gone in a moment. So
yeah.
they go skinny dipping. They whatever, like probably making memories in the moonlight. You just imagine it's like water splashing and everybody's naked, and it's like, oh my god, I'm living a life. And then apparently they come back up to get their clothes, and everything was stolen.
Oh,
So you got three girls and a guy naked on the beach.
yeah.
And so the guy goes in and has to like go and ask for a towel
Naked.
into a hotel.
Okay.
And, yep. So that's a crazy story. Like I didn't have that many crazy stories other than like getting really pissed off at vendors for like not paying their bills. That was like,
Yeah, you weren't even used to that kind of like
yeah.
that shady.
Oh, Guy Fieri came to one of our events.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Guy Fieri. So
I had done other events with him in the past. If you guys don't know who Guy Fieri is, maybe we'll pull up a picture of him. He's got like this kind of frosted tips. He looks like
well, they know who Guy Fieri is.
I mean, he looks like some of the worst parts of 1997 took a big shit.
Well, you're just full of compliments today.
I am full of compliments.
You worked with him.
Oh no, I worked with him,
But you're
and
just kind of like joking. You're just like Josh, and like you guys are on like that friend level, right?
Yeah, totally, yeah. No, when you see,
here we go.
Yeah, there he is.
That's cool.
When you see somebody like that, like so, we've done events, and like he would be all cool and fun and funny in front of people that were like he was showing off to.
Yeah.
And then you'd go in the back, like where we'd like just hang out until like it was my turn to go on and talk about the wine or his turn to go on and talk about food. And he was just a dick to the whole staff. And whenever I see somebody being an asshole to the staff, I'm just like, dude, you got your shit wrong. Like, first of all, you're not near that famous, and second of all, if you even were that famous, don't be a dick. So there was that. So he comes by one of our events, and he was not invited. I got to say that he was not invited, but we had this like the soiree thing going on, and so he comes in. And he's just like talking trash about like, the food that was there. And I'm like, dude, you make fucking like steak sushi with like. So anyways, he walks through and like, whatever. We just kind of all ignore him and he finally leaves. But, it's like, dude, we don't want that vibe up in here. So that was just one of those kind of funny stories because, he comes in and, there were Russian hookers that were stealing like fake bottles of wine. It was really funny because we had our big displays.
Fake bottles of wine? Oh, you mean like the dummy bottles with like
the
nothing
dummy
inside?
Bottles. Well, no, we had like just colored liquid in them because they were like, yeah. And so these Russian hookers are like sneaking them out. It was really funny. They were, yeah.
Oh, wow. That must have been
that's Miami.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. I would like to say when I was on the subject of chefs that I had the pleasure of, working for Gordon Ramsay. I was actually on the first Hell's Kitchen. I don't know if you recognize that. I said, I'll have the Caesar salad.
Oh. Okay, I didn't catch it. I'm sorry. I missed that one.
No, but I worked for one of his restaurants, stuff like that. He actually came in. And what I liked about that was like the personality of being like a hard ass and like yelling at people and stuff like that on shows.
Yeah.
And to actually meet him in person, and he was like really nice guy.
Oh,
and,
was
like,
he?
And polite, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
Good to
totally.
hear.
Yeah.
I actually just
So
went
it's always
to.
like great. You're like, it's like cool. It's like great entertainment and stuff like that. You can like drop the hammer, but
But
like,
then he's a real person
yeah,
behind
exactly.
it. Good.
Yeah.
I actually just went to his one of his restaurants for the first time. Hell's Kitchen in Vegas, like outside of Caesars.
Oh, you went to Hell's Kitchen
Yeah.
in Vegas. I've been wanting to go there, dude. What'd you think?
It was really good. It's like big restaurant. I was like just trying to be good in Vegas, so I had like a beet salad. But then we had like a group of like 15, and his big thing is like beef Wellington, right? That's what he's like known for.
Yeah.
And so he had a nice like prefixed menu where like he had, I think it was 4 courses, and one of them was beef Wellington, and they're actually in like the next couple weeks they're rolling out quilt cab as being like the pairing option with that dish. So I asked the server, I'm like, dude, how many of these beef Wellingtons? Because you're watching the kitchen. We sat right by the kitchen. You're watching the kitchen just like crank these out. It looked like it was like a half a dozen a minute. And he's like, well, we do about 12 to 1,400 covers here in a day. Like huge, first of all.
Damn.
It's like, and how many go out as beef Wellingtons? He's like, well, it's a lot of prefixed, but I'd say about half the orders for entrees are beef Wellington. I'm like, dude, that's like you're going through like 600-700 beef Wellingtons a day, and it's not a cheap price tag. So I got 3 for the table just because everybody wanted something kind of light, but we all wanted to taste it. And he's got a good beef Wellington. It was really good. So staff was great, place was awesome, and then I looked him up. He's got like a boatload of restaurants, man. He's not messing around.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's like, if you got like 60 restaurants, like you got to be just traveling year round, like hitting everything. And then the guy's got like 3 shows, 2 or 3 shows.
Yeah, dude, he's killing it. And I was actually always wondering about, because like when I saw the Hell's Kitchen in Vegas, I was just wondering if it was just kind of like, if you would go be there eating, but then it would turn into like Hell's Kitchen on you. You know what I mean? Like you're not like on the show.
Got a server
like,
coming over and be like,
yeah,
you didn't finish the beef Wellington.
Or there's messing up orders, or like he like makes appearances, like just to be yelling at people and stuff.
No, but I got it. So it was a good experience. I'm glad they got our wines, and I'm really happy to hear he's a good guy. Like, that's awesome.
No, yeah, for sure.
So that's home for show.
It was a great experience.
He can do that shit for show. Like I have trouble like getting pissed off at my kids, like like showing them like this. Like I'm so disappointed in you. Like this dude just turns it on for a show.
Yeah, I feel like
that's magical in a way.
I think for your type of way, but you have like that good, like I feel like you have that smile, that laugh, that can be, oh, I'm having a good time. Yeah, this is great. It can also be I'm pissed off. Like I'm about to go.
Oh, trust me, it's I've been talking.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
I've been talking to my therapist about this because I'm trying to figure out like, how am I not being effective with my kids in ways like they don't understand? Like, no, you screwed up. Like, is it like because I'm like, you know what? You really did it this time.
That's it, dude.
You did it.
Smile, stuff like that. I'm gonna say this comes from like growing up with you back in the day, because I've actually seen you laughing and smiling before you had to handle somebody on the streets.
Yeah.
But we won't get into that right now. I think we gotta.
It's all the same emotions. Should we move on though? It's all the same emotions.
All right, you ready to jump into non-intervention winemaking?
It's one of my favorite subjects.
Oh my god, one of his favorite subjects. That's why I really wanted to talk about this. You've actually had I know that you've actually had the chance to talk to some non-intervention winemakers.
Yeah, a lot.
Do we have a clip of Joe? He was like having an interview, I think one that it was actually on your TikTok.
Oh, that that was me having a conversation with a non-interventionist winemaker that actually makes good wine. So we could look at that as kind of the preface to this.
Okay, so
there we go.
Talking to a non-intervention natural winemaker who makes good wine. Joe, that guy
was he somewhere in the distance?
Tall. He looks like he's 220.
I don't know.
No, actually, I don't see anyone there.
I think the main point of this little clip is that they don't exist. Okay,
we're doing okay. This is all in fun. Look, I just want to know. So
these are just my opinions, okay? I could be wrong. I mean, I could go back, 5 generations that I've learned from in winemaking, and my 20 years in this profession, and I can still look myself in the mirror and say I have no fucking clue what I'm doing because I'm not a non-interventionist winemaker. Like,
Yeah.
come on, fuck you guys. Okay, um, so why don't we start with the definition? Is there like a legal term?
Okay, so that's the thing. I
mean,
mean,
that-
if you look up on it, that's the funny thing about this. If we're talking, if it's natural wine, non-interventionist, low intervention, we're looking at, it's almost, I guess it comes down to these lack of extras that some may call it, of filtration, of fining agents. Are you using not using commercial yeast, which I want to get into as well too, because that's interesting to me, the natural yeast, or I guess versus commercial yeast.
Yeah.
Supplements, oak chips, excessive sulfur,
Even using barrels.
racking,
Yeah.
minimal racking. So I kind of like.
So it's all subjective. You take 100 non or low intervention winemakers or natural winemakers, ask them all what the definition of it is, and you're going to get a different response.
Yeah.
From each of them, because it's all what they want to do, what they think is the right thing, and what their personal definition is. So I just look at it like these are buzzwords. They're like hype words, right? And they keep coming out and they keep changing. You got your natural wine, you've got low and non-intervention, you've got there's 0.00, yeah, like all
which
these,
is 0.00 is referring to 0 sulfur, 0 yeast.
Okay,
I guess it's
whatever you say, buddy.
Okay, look, I think it's great to talk about this, because I think it's said that they're staying away from manipulation. And I think that sometimes it comes off as like a bad word, but in the same sense, it doesn't make sense, because you have to be involved in winemaking for it to happen. You can't just let it happen naturally, right? I don't know. Can it? Does that happen? Like,
Look, I'm gonna go
the grapes, and then
I'm gonna give you my definition of non-intervention winemaking. Okay.
All right. We get
you find a native grapevine growing along the side of a creek. Okay. And you find that it has produced some grapes. You watch those grapes mature. Don't ever touch them.
Yeah.
Don't do anything to help them out. And then as soon as it's fully ripe,
Is there something else?
Siri was getting into it. My Siri.
So
Siri's pissed, Joe. I'm sorry. Okay.
We can just keep going. So
Yeah,
you're watching these grapes, and as soon as they deem themselves ripe, then they naturally start to ferment. And then they find their way into a glass as wine, and then you drink it. You didn't have to do anything. I mean, and that's what non-intervention winemaking should be. The moment I'll go back to viticulture, grape growing. You plant a vineyard, right? You trellis that vineyard. You choose a rootstock and a clone and an irrigation system if you want one, all that stuff, right? You're intervening with Mother Nature. Take it another step, you make a decision on when to pick all your farming practices prior to that, what you're going to be doing from crop thinning, you're intervening. Now you pick, and then do you destem? Do you go whole cluster? Either choice, you're intervening in some way. You're making a personal decision on what you think is going to benefit that end resulting wine with your philosophy intact.
Yeah.
And then you move through that fermentation process. Are you just going to let it sit there and bubble on its own and not get any extraction? Well, that'd be a non-intervention approach, but I'm pretty sure that if you're making red wine, you're going to be punching that cap down, you're going to be pumping over, you're going to be doing whatever it is to get the extraction out of the skins. Then it goes to aging. Your wine is now like you converted all the sugar into alcohol, the native yeast naturally and non-interventionistly turned all that sugar into alcohol, and now you want to age it to help it soften out. But you're like, well, I don't want to move the wine. I don't want to rack it off leaves. I just want to sit in a barrel. But that barrel is intervening. No, maybe, I don't know. So it's going to contribute some character. And then you decide to either rack or not rack, meaning moving the wine out and incorporating some oxygen so that you can kind of soften the tannins and blow off some of the residual CO2. Are you going to go through ML fermentation, which you probably should, because if you go into a non-filtration environment and to bottle, you're going to have secondary fermentation of some sort and blow your corks, and it's going to taste like garbage. I guess what I'm saying is that anytime you make any decision about any element of grape growing or the winemaking process, you're intervening. So there's no such thing as non-interventionist winemaking. There is such thing as lazy winemaking. And that this is a buzzword for lazy ass winemakers, and they're trying to romanticize it. It's like, don't romanticize that you're lazy. Like, here's a good example, okay? This is our society that we live in. You have girls and guys.
Guys, here comes a classic analogy that is from Joe. Okay,
that's okay. So
I can't wait.
Have you ever heard somebody saying like, I love tanning. It's one of my favorite things to do. Like laying in the sun or going to a tanning bed.
Okay.
Why don't you just say you want to do fucking nothing for like an hour or two?
Dude, why does it keep going off, dude? I'm taking this off, dude. You got like my Siri watch going crazy. Why don't you say you want to do nothing?
Yeah, so why don't you just say you want to do nothing for a couple hours? Because that's what you're doing. It's no different than laying on a fucking couch, other than you got, UV rays hitting your skin. You have marketed this idea that I am actually doing something productive when you're doing nothing.
Okay, well, okay. All right, but hold on a second though. If you're tanning for the sake of tanning and you're like doing nothing, right? You're okay, you're relaxing. I get it. I get where you're going from, but then you're gonna leave that experience a little darker. I mean, you're gonna be different.
So you're benefiting in some way.
Yeah, and some vitamin D.
It's just whenever somebody says that's one of my favorite things to do, I'm like, your favorite. What are your favorite things? Like one of your favorite pastimes is doing fucking zero. Good for you. What a contributor to society. What would this world do without you and your fucking tanning?
I wonder if you could put that like on your job resume or something like that, of like, your special abilities or whatever. You're like, I'm a really good tanner. I know how to tan like the best of them.
I can lay out in that sun for way longer than most people. And I lather up with the oil. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Anyways,
I hear you.
Okay, so back to non-intervention.
Like, I don't know, dude. Like my left eye is sweating, or you made me cry. Maybe because I thought I was really good at tanning. and I think you're talking about me.
I don't know. Do you even tan?
No, I do.
You do?
Well, you know what? Because we talked about this. I mean, I'm half Mexican. My brown is on the inside. I got that from my dad. But that comes out. But I need the sun to help me with that.
Look, there's nothing wrong with it. Just don't make it sound like you're doing something productive for society.
No,
yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
I
don't.
So non-interventionist winemakers are the same thing. You guys are being lazy, and it's like, I mean, do I make choices in winemaking? Absolutely. Do I make choices that I think are going to best reflect what Mother Nature gave us, and all the way through the growing process? That's the goal, right? Like, we want to usher in the maximum value of what Mother Nature offers us, from soil and climate, through to our choices in viticulture, and then our, everything from fermentation, extraction, barrel aging, all that stuff. And what we want to provide is a time capsule in a bottle. And it says, this was from this year at this specific area, and it yielded this. It's like, you go back to that in 10 years, you're like, oh yeah, I remember 2001. I remember what the dynamics in the season were like, or what, whatever it is. And it's kind of like a reflection point. That's one of the cool things about wine. If you're a non-interventionist winemaker, are you really getting what Mother Nature gave you because you make up your own definition of what it should taste like without any regard for maximizing what Mother Nature gave you? I think you're doing a disservice for wine.
Yeah, I mean, and that's coming from, you really are like a true farmer.
That's where it all started.
And that's where it all started.
Yeah, and that's where it does begin. Yeah.
Really big about representing the land and having respect for that, in which your grapes are coming from.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, especially even take Bowen. I mean, that's the whole that was the whole idea with your Bowen label. I mean, you do it with all your wines, but
it's with everything. You take a sustainable approach. You could take the most conventional old school approach, and all you're doing is wasting time, material, and money, right? So you can go ask a pest control advisor. That's like a role in the wine world, right? So they're going to be able to tell you what you should be doing as far as like spraying, irrigation, fertilizer, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, those guys generally have like a financial interest in it because they're going to sell you on, you got to spray this every 2 weeks through this part of the season and then move over to that and use this fertilizer at this rate. And every bit of what they're selling you, they're getting commission off of. So if you go with that very conventional approach, you're probably going to grow fine grapes. You're going to be way overutilizing whatever it is. Where, I always go back to reactive winemaking. That's what I call our process, where it's like we follow what's going on. We try to do what's best. But then when something starts to go off the path, we correct it. Same thing in the vineyards. You go out there and you're like, we don't have any issues. All right, just keep letting the grapes grow. It's like go out there one day after a rain and now it's warm. You got some mildew. All right, let's run a sulfur pass and kill the mildew and everything's fine and that's it. So you react to what's being put in front of you rather than being, I'll call it proactive in a wasteful way. And that's, in my mind, sustainability.
Hell yeah.
So,
and I think, we're having a lot of like fun. I think where it comes from is just like the respect thing. I think, we have gotten a lot of this where our wine is from some, I'll say, but the non-interventionist really rolls off the tongue there. But, or low, whatever it is, saying that their wine is better. This whole thing of, and you're saying they're kind of like these selling words that they're using, these words that aren't regulated.
Yeah, they're totally unregulated. Yeah.
So you put that stamp on your wine, but there's no regulation with that. So we don't really know if you're saying you didn't really do anything, you didn't do much. What didn't you do? What did it have to do with? Like, for example, let's like get specific. So if you're saying that, if you're kind of promoting that, well, we do this minimal racking. So to me, I mean, and but I mean, growing up in the wine business, this has always been a process that I felt a lot of wineries did.
Well, you got your first racking typically is to get it off of the lees. Like there's a lot of solids in there, and if you let those sit for too long, it will, without getting into the details of it, it will make your wine stinky and sulfidey. Like it could be like onions or that sort of character. So you don't want that to happen. So you want to get that wine off of the lees, meaning racking it, moving it out of barrel, cleaning those lees out, putting the wine back in, and then topping it up so you have a low oxygen environment. But you also want to keep your wine clean because if you let something go south, well, you're ruining what you have, what your inventory is.
Yeah.
So why would you want to risk that, I guess? I mean, we'll utilize lees from time to time to really augment the mouthfeel, but you have to be interacting with the lees because if you let it settle, and it is going to start to stink. If you stir it up, then you can keep it in suspension, but then you're intervening again. So, I mean, it really comes down to, it's a marketing term. That's how I see it. And it's easy for people to fall into it because it's a good, like, heartstrings sort of marketing element. So you're playing into this ideology that people have that less is better. And that I'm just letting Mother Nature run its course, and I'm just the one that's ushering it through the process. And you're just being lazy and trying to overmarket your shit. That's at the end of the day, that's it. And now, I know you got vegan wine. That was one of the things. There are parameters on certain things, right?
Yeah.
Vegan wine, yeah, that's true. You got to have there are animal-based fining agents to help clarify, clean up your wine. But so if you use those, you cannot classify your wine as vegan. I would say that the vast majority of wines out there are vegan. Like, we don't use any animal-based stuff. All of our wines are vegan. We've never felt that there was a need to use any of those animal-based products. And we've just found out from some of our retailers that that's an important thing. They want to put a little tag up there that says vegan. It's like, all right, great. And we have the info to back it up. So if somebody comes in and says, we want to make sure that your stuff is vegan. All right, cool. Here's whatever whatever we used, and there's no animal-based products in it.
And with animal-based products, just to explain why would those be used? For example, egg whites.
Yeah, egg whites I'd say are the most probably traditional and common. Yeah. And so what you do is you mix up egg whites, and then what you traditionally do is put them in a barrel towards the end of your aging process, and the egg whites and the proteins will actually capture some of the remaining solids that are still floating around in there. And you're talking like really fine solids, like really fine grain lees.
Yeah.
And it'll connect with those and then drop them to the bottom, and then you're going to rack out without pulling those solids out. So it helps clarify the wine.
Okay.
Is what it is. Sometimes you're going to pull bitter flavors out depending on what fining material you're using. But overall, it's all very similar. It will clarify the wine.
And then if you're not using egg whites, you're gonna go away from animal products. You just use it's like a plant-based product that you
don't
can
even
use that.
You don't even need to use fining agents. Like that's not even it's not a requirement. I mean, in our white wines, we use what's called bentonite regularly, but that's for heat stabilization, so that if the wine gets up to a higher temperature for a short period of time, that it doesn't go cloudy. So that's pulling some of this a potential issue out of it. It doesn't really affect the wine at all, and bentonite is more or less it's a clay, right?
Well, it sounds to me though that like if you're not using fining agents, that you're a low interventionist
low interventionist winemaker.
You're a non-intervention winemaker.
Oh God.
Low. You're a low.
I'm low.
You're almost there. Can you just stop?
How would you call that? Reactionary interventionist winemaking.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
And can I say, and I want to just like throw this in, but like really quick to touch on is we hear a lot of there's a shit talking. I think you'll hear it like on TikTok.
Oh yeah.
Or something like that. People want to throw around this word mega purple. They will see wines from Napa Valley or they'll see someone having fun in a wine shower. Joe the winemaker on TikTok has a lot of that. And we're having a lot of fun stuff, but they'll see this, they'll look at it, and they'll just throw out this word mega purple that you're using this some kind of additive, right? Just by looking at it, no proof, no facts. But
there are a number of additives you can use in the wine world, right? So, and a lot of them are things that people use to augment the mouthfeel, or they're fining agents that are going to be stripping something out that may be like bitter, astringent, or clarification purposes. So if you were to look at, let's see, like a wine label, and that wine label wanted to include ingredients, you would say at the most basic form, let's say you were using yeast and you were going to be using sulfur, and your ingredients are now grapes, yeast, and sulfur dioxide, and that's it. A lot of the additives are either grape-based products or oak-based products, right? So those, I would imagine those have to be listed as well. And we are not yet there as an industry, I think, for whatever reason, to have those pieces included. I think it's coming at some point. Read this article that that was, I thought, a really good one, that like the younger generation wants to know exactly what's in it. Well, wine and spirits are like a few of the last two holdouts from the government requiring nutrition facts and ingredient labeling. I think it'll come down to it. I think one of the big pushbacks that the industry's had, and these are guys like way bigger than us that are kind of controlling the strings on this, but I think that it's like the sacrifice of the label, right? You're now going to have this big ugly thing on the back that's like nutrition facts and all that shit, which, if the industry all moves in that direction, then what's the difference? It's still a bottle of wine. The front label looks beautiful. The back label is where you have all your shit. I don't know that it's an issue. And that would, I don't know if that's going to expose people. I would say that the traditionalists, the non-interventionist winemakers, and the sommeliers out there, they get an idea in their mind, and not only are they trying to overmarket something that is not worth marketing, like non-intervention, but the other aspect to that is I need to augment my marketability by putting down the other guys. And so there must be a reason that their wines are this way that's beyond the ability of a simple winemaker and grape grower. And I'm sure that there are many cases like that, but I know that there are also many more cases that are just good winemaking, good judgment calls in the vineyard, and paying attention. So I mean that's in a nutshell.
Yeah. I think that explains it the best. Is you're just pulling stuff out your ass I'm trying to talk smack, and you got no facts about it.
Like this.
But,
So wait, you mentioned.
yeah, like
did we
this.
get some hate on this? Like that I'm raining
Yeah, we're watching the
mega
video
purple
right
on
now
me?
of these cool wine shower videos that we did on Joe's TikTok, Joe the winemaker.
I don't even think I'm supposed to say that. That's like shit wine. That's like press wine. Because I think people were
Just
like,
for the
no,
pocket.
it's like dyed water, and I'm like,
Yeah, it's not.
I
yeah.
don't even know what I'm supposed
It's
to say.
real wine, and also it's not wasting wine, like you said.
Yeah.
It was wine that was not going to be used. You only want to use like the best, obviously. So we find fun ways, right, to utilize that.
Well, like this was going to get sold bulk for like a couple bucks a gallon to some, somebody making like a $5 bottle of wine.
But instead,
no. So hold on. Let me preface this by saying
was it going to come?
that
in a
could
jug or
just
a
be
box?
dyed water. It could just be dyed water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would never look at that. I think it's just funny that with people look at that and with conviction
Oh yeah.
just say dyed water.
Because everybody's opinion.
Oh, look at that color. It's mega purple. It's like, first of all, dude, do you know that there's filters and stuff that we're all, I mean, like color wise, photo wise on video, what things are looking like. But even then, you're saying what's inside something by just watching a video. And it's just funny.
Everybody's got opinions and they think that they're correct. And it's,
Yeah.
so I mean, I think oftentimes you're just better off not even saying anything. Like,
Yeah, like
what's the point in responding to the haters on this one? It's like, I'm going to let them believe whatever they want. There you go.
I mean, look at the smiles on his face. If you are not watching, but only listening, the smiles on your face, those aren't smiles that come from colored water. That is happiness that comes from when there's wine showering on you, that you can actually.
I don't know,
just
man.
turn
I'm going with colored water.
It was really cold though, wasn't it?
It was very cold.
Yeah, dude, you're always freezing. I mean,
No, the problem
we've
was that-
actually dumped wine on you multiple times.
That colored water or wine or whatever it was like 45 degrees.
Yeah,
And it was cold and rainy
and
out
then
that
we're
day.
yelling at you. We're
I know.
like, oh, get your brother there. Smile. Dance.
Dance.
Oh, it's so great to
dance.
have that fun with your MF CEO.
Yeah, and everybody just yelling at you. God, it was great. I had so much fun.
You're a good sport. Okay, just I think to wrap it up, I wanted to say that, with this conversation comes that can we all, I think it would be great, and let me know if you agree, as a winemaker, farmer, always cared about not only the farming, but the history and family business of this, of all these winemakers that have been passing on the tradition, that it would be different if we could all say, hey, we're all winemakers, we're all doing our own thing, support all. Yeah.
I think by and large, early on in this industry, like everybody was in support of each other, but everybody was kind of like going the same direction.
Yeah.
And you still see that by and large. But then these like fringe groups started coming up and they're like, I make shitty wine, so I've got to market it. And part of my marketing is talking shit about everybody else.
Yeah.
And so at some point, you got to stand up and be like, you guys are wrong. You're lying. And we're going to call you out on it. At the end of the day, the best product is going to win, right? So people will taste and judge with their palate. And so I think that I follow that truth. But no, I used to not talk shit about these people until they started talking shit about us. I'm just not going to lay there on the sidelines and be like, oh, yeah, I intervened too much and my wine is not worthy of your lips. It's like, no.
Don't talk no shit, won't be
It's like,
no shit.
wow, this non-intervention wine, it
Oh, yeah.
smells.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. That's another one of the problems.
Oh, no, let's not get, this is going to start.
The Psalms.
Oh, my gosh. Art in the back room just throws up the video
Yeah,
about.
There are some good Psalms out there, but man, some of them are
Let's
just
hear
the mouthpiece for, idiots. And so I think that should all be expressed or exposed too. But, there's the Psalm that's actually making good decisions to have a well-rounded menu, to have a good selection for their customers. And then there are the Psalms who are trying to make a name for themselves by being, kind of like outlandish in what their ideologies are and forcing that upon people. And then typically trying to overcharge for something that's so obscure that nobody's ever going to be able to find what the actual retail price is. So you might be buying an $8 bottle of Riesling from some far off land that you could, find out in the marketplace, and he's charging $150 and telling you that the family that makes this wine is non-interventionist and blah, 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 and go down that whole list of like all these things and make your heart feel good. And you're like, oh, wow, I'm going to support this small family company that's doing things that are supposedly helping the environment and helping, drive a new cause in the wine industry, at the end of the day, it's lazy winemaking and some mouthpiece douchebag who is trying to make a name for himself and some money.
But if you are doing
that's not 100% of not 100% of the time. Not 100%.
Yes. And I want to make that clear. It's not the absolute. If you're doing your thing, making it how you're making it, and you're not talking shit, you're just doing your thing, you're making it, support all farmers and winemakers like that. Hey, do your thing. You're not the lazy one. But if you're talking shit, then you are lazy.
Lay down.
then we're gonna come for you.
Lay down your non-intervening pitchforks and come to the table for a betterment of the wine community, because your division of it doesn't help.
Yeah.
It'd be great if we all got back to that.
Yeah. How about we'll go to love.
Go to love. Always go to love.
Okay, yeah.
2023, it will be the summer of love.
You all spit up when he put the video up about Psalms. I knew that was gonna happen too. Then he just fucking went off, bro. You can't do that with Joe, dude. He's been getting a lot, but I like it. Oh, got feisty.
All right, should we move on now? Before I start breaking
Let's
shit?
go to donkeys. Donkeys would be nice to talk about now. Jody needs to come.
Let's go to dogs.
Right,
Let's go to dogs.
Sorry, he's been through it. Oh, good. I'm glad that we can talk about puppies now and dogs. I mean, I know that you were like, dude, we're doing this podcast, and when are we going to start talking about my true passion, my true love?
Got my dogs.
My dog.
My dogs, bro.
Dogtown. All right, man. I think dogs are a fun topic because there's always been this whole culture of the winery dogs.
Yeah.
There's been calendars. A lot of winemakers or dog lovers have their dogs and represent. And I know that you grew up with dogs, and you have dogs now. So
they're great companions. I started in the vineyards, and that was my companion every day. And number one, it helps you feel protected, right? You run along, run across something that's a predator. You might. And I'm not talking like Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh my god! I don't know.
I'm talking like coyotes or mountain lions or something. You're in some remote areas in some of these vineyards. No, but they're great companions. They jump in the back of your truck. You go wherever. Go in the barrel room with you, and they're searching around and having fun. And then you just call them, and they come back. And
you had so let's see if I remember. Buster was one of your.
Oh, you're going way back,
way back.
First dog. That was when I was 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Buster and Sparky.
Aww.
Yeah. And then my first dog was really Smiley.
Now Smiley,
Aussie.
and we want to talk about, because it comes up a lot too. We were gonna, people rescue. Did you rescue your dog? Well, you rescued him from Safeway, right?
No, that was Nesta.
Oh, was that Nesta?
No, Smiley was rescued in Texas. I went with my dad to Texas, and we were at this cattle ranch.
Oh, okay.
And the owner of the ranch, his name was Larry, and he was there was this puppy that was living under an old chicken coop on the cattle ranch, and his mom was the herding dog around there, but there was just one puppy, and she'd gotten pregnant from some other dog at some point, nobody really knew.
Yeah.
And so found this dog full of fleas. He was probably 6 weeks old, just surviving out there with his mom, in this abandoned chicken coop. And so I asked my dad if we could ask Larry if we can keep him, and Larry was like yeah, sure. There was no, I don't think there was any plans. So we brought him back. Well, cleaned him up. We were staying in this cabin, cleaned him up, got all of his fleas off, and brought him home. And I think he was a full bred Aussie, because I think that there was another male Aussie somewhere on that ranch. He looked like a full bred Aussie.
He looked like an Aussie.
But he would if I was on a 4-wheeler or something out in the vineyards, he'd be up in front biting the tires, trying to herd me. The herding instincts in those animals is real. You're
about your ankles.
Oh yeah.
Hey, wait, didn't he shake his butt?
When he got excited, he had the little bobtail naturally,
Yeah.
I think So that his whole ass would just shake back and forth, and he'd get all excited. He couldn't walk forward.
He was just puppy twerking it.
So there was Smiley, and then a couple years after that, I found Nesta at Safeway.
Yes. Okay. Yeah,
Nesta was
Nesta was the dog that
I think she was Chow and Golden mix, but just kind of a mutt, and she was wickedly smart. So I've always had dogs, like
Always had dogs.
a couple dogs. Currently I have 3. Okay, that's Theo.
Okay, these are your current dogs right now. We're actually bringing up some photos.
That's Carlos. He's helping me work that
We
day.
got Carlos on the laptop.
That was when he's a baby.
All right, so you got Theo right now. Currently, you have 3 dogs. Oh,
There's Mia and
Mia.
Theo.
Theo.
That's
And
him
Theo-
being
okay,
fancy.
so-
He's
okay,
got
so
his
let
Dean
me
and
just
DeLuca coffee.
Theo has a blue and brown eye. And what do we know what breed Theo is?
Well, from 23 and me.
Wait.
They got
hold
matching
on.
hair. That's Grizz.
Hold up, dude. You 23 to me, your dogs.
We
You
had
do
to with
that?
Theo. I had no idea. Like, well,
Oh
we
my
did all of them.
gosh.
I think no, but it's not called 23andMe. It's another it's another program, but it's literally
Oh
the
my
same thing.
gosh.
So Theo is Siberian Husky, German Shepherd,
Whoa.
Lab, Rottweiler, and I think there was one other. In either case, so but that like predominantly Husky and German Shepherd. But he's like the scariest looking dog. I mean,
Oh.
and he's got those 2 different eyes. But
And he
you see
drinks
him.
Dean and DeLuca coffee. You see like his photo that's up there. He's just having his morning coffee.
But he's awesome. He's very smart.
He's
like,
a really good. He's a good.
but
God,
he'll
he's a good
scare the
dog.
shit out of anybody. Like you walk in the backyard and you got this like
I know.
100+ pound like dog with just looking at you like you don't know that he wants pets. That's all he wants.
Yeah.
But yeah, he'll he
If I
looks like
didn't
he's gonna
know
attack
him,
you.
I would. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have Carlos,
Carlos.
who and Carlos is like, I mean, he's kind of like a big version of my dog's the. We'll get to my dog Cockapoo, but Carlos is
He's kind of like a Labradoodle,
Labradoodle.
but he's
Yeah.
got like other things in there like.
Did you 23 and me him too? Or so it's not 23 and me.
Yeah, but yeah, you do like a DNA
pet
test.
version of finding out your dog's DNA, which is
But
actually.
I think he's also
pretty cool.
got
I
like
think I'm gonna
Cocker
do that just to make
Spaniel,
sure.
Lab, Poodle,
Yeah.
Portuguese Water Dog, whatever. So he's a curly headed little fuck,
Yeah.
but he's so sweet. And his name is Carlos because if you ever saw The Hangover,
Yeah.
we called it. So like they find the baby in the closet,
Yeah.
and they name him Carlos, and he's like, not at the table, Carlos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we named him Carlos because it was like we had watched that movie like I think the day before we got him. We're like, not at the table, Carlos. And so we still say it all the time. He's like, comes up to the table, not at the table, Carlos. So yeah, but he's a good dog. He's probably like 50 pounds. What about yours?
Wait, one last one. Sorry, before you jump.
You want to just keep going on mine?
You want to skip Grizzly?
No.
Oh, Grizzles?
Grizzly's the oldest out of the
Dude,
3.
he's got like this little dog. You chose a cute picture of Grizzly. Grizzly's gone through some weight issues.
Grizzly,
Well, actually, I
yeah.
thought Grizzly's head was getting like smaller
Yeah.
until I realized that his
It's a-
stomach was expanding to. He felt very. I didn't know if he was like bulking stage or if he was like.
I think he was trying to
Working out.
embrace like his inner sausage, and he was packed tight into that casing for a while. And so he was on free feed, and I think he was just coping with the fact of having other dogs around after we got them, and he would just eat everything he could. And he ballooned up to like twice his body weight, what it should have been. So he's been on a diet now, and he's getting trimmer and trimmer. Problem is, we got to put all 3 dogs on
That's
diets.
what I want to hear. The
And-
story. What do you feed him? Because Grizzly's like the little one. He's like the smallest one of them all.
Yeah, but
He runs shit.
no, he runs everything.
He's like a Joe Pesci.
We have to lock him in like a separate room when we feed him because
Yeah.
if he finishes, and he always finishes before the big dogs, if he finishes before the big dogs,
Yeah.
and he can get out there, he'll bark them away from their food and eat the rest of their food.
Yeah.
He'll go in the pantry, like open the door to the pantry on his own
Yeah.
and go in there and steal shit. So like if we leave him without like tying the pantry door up, if we leave him, we got a little security camera. We'll see him like walk into the pantry and pick up like bags of chips, nuts, granola bars, walk them out into the living room and like stockpile them and then just start going to town. Come back and just find like wrappers everywhere and he's just sitting there on the couch like,
So do you think
man, that was so good.
all this time, I just thought you were dealing with maybe he had like some kind of like genetic weight problem, but I think we nailed it. I
Yeah.
think he was, he's just breaking into human snacks, and no one wanted to fucking say no to him
I know.
because he'd be like,
Well, and
"You
the
think I'm a
kids,
fucking clown."
would feed him like
You think-
whatever. They're all thinking like, oh, this is funny. We're gonna make Grizzly bigger.
Yeah.
It's like you guys are gonna kill him.
Oh,
So he's been doing good on the diet. He's probably going on like 3 months now. Gets fed twice a day.
Yeah.
Same with the other dogs, but the other dogs get like different food. He's got like a diet food,
yeah.
and we mix in like a little bit of wet food, so he likes it. and I think he's lost about 30% of his body weight from his peak of like 24 pounds, I think.
Sweet.
So he's got to get. I'm trying to get him
He's
down
doing
to like 11, 12. Like that's his normal weight. He's getting close. Yeah.
Okay, so you care. Okay, now
Yeah. Yours. What's up with yours?
I know you know what you want to talk about my dog is you just ready to talk shit.
No, I love.
You
I
and
love it
him
when
have
you.
this weird relationship.
But I love it when you bring him over and he's like,
and he bites the shit out of you.
well, and he just like he's so confused. He's like, what are these other furry things with 4 legs?
No,
Like,
okay, look, I tell people this. I take my dog. Wait, hold on a second. All right, check it out. So I got a really grumpy dog. I love him, but he's so grumpy. He's always trying to bite me. Gurrs at me. You hear him? He like lays on me. He chooses to lay on me. I just figure something out that kind of brightens him up. You want to see what it is? Check this out. All right, come here, buddy. Yeah. Hold on. Hey, do you want a burger? Do you want a hamburger from In-N-Out?
but it's like, what's with his chin? Whenever you touch his chin,
he got like a weird haircut at that time.
No, but it's when you touch his chin that he wants to.
Yeah,
like...
he says. Well, you can see it here. I mean, if there was like any volume on it, but there's a teeth comes out. Yeah. See, he's very vocal. He's not afraid to express himself. And here he was just kind of like he shows his teeth, but when you touch his chin, he's got certain areas that he hasn't really like touched. But if we could go to the or that other video, because I was gonna say,
but he also doesn't really bite. He just like kind of nips, right? Has he drawn blood?
No. Okay. Well, look, he had to kind of like you gotta learn that to teach him that that he had power, that he could hurt. So you were talking about, look, this one I want to show you. This is video because this is a video from it, but this is where it was just like what your dog was named after. So you talked about Carlos being named after Carlos the Hangover. So Rocco is named after Rocco from Boondock Saints. Okay,
that is great. You never told me that.
Hey, what? You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that was like some video from Instagram was like whatever, like show him. And that's where he came from his looks.
So do you feel that by
you, a fan of the movie,
you naming him Rocco actually drove his personality
dude,
to be like Rocco? Because like
the personality fits, dude. He reminds me also of Rocco.
So I am a believer that what idea you have of your dog, not just the name, but like what
nurture versus nature.
No, that they like. I mean, you've always heard the thing about like dogs and owners eventually kind of like. They become similar, right?
Yeah,
looks wise, all right.
Yeah.
So there's that, but I also think that like so now it makes total sense, right? You named him Rocco after this crazy dude in Boondock Saints with crazy hair, and so in the back of your mind, you're always like, oh yeah, this dude's Rocco from Boondock Saints, and so like he picks up on that vibe. I think they got it like a sixth sense. So like he evolved into a small dog version of Rocco. Thank God he's small.
But he only does that so like he's not really biting you, but he does it to the ones he loves. So you should actually feel special.
Oh, that's so sweet.
You also rub his fucking chin though, bro, and you do it on the slide. You doesn't like it, but he'll do that. But that's the funny thing too, because he's actually loves everybody else. So you go to the dog park, and he actually we get excited if he plays with another dog because 80% he ignores. What he likes to do at the dog park and go and sit on the bench with other families. And then I will look at him from a distance, and the families it was always kind of the same thing. They'll say, oh, whose cute dog are you? Oh, you're so cute. Oh my gosh. Oh, he's so sweet. He's just like licking himself. And then he like shoots me a look like, that's right. Oh yeah. See, I want it. I could go away with this family. And then you always have like one of them, like you'll get a comment every now and then where they're like, is this your dog? I'm like, yeah, that's Rocco. Yeah. They're like, you better be careful. We might steal him. I'm like, please don't steal him. And like, I just like cover my eyes just for a second in hopes. That
man.
I love him. Yeah, he's a great dog. He has a lot of character, but with us, he shows a lot of emotion. I think they're really smart dogs too. I think what's great about that breed also is that he's very smart. He knows a lot of tricks. Is he going to do that trick? Depends on, he's going to check out the treat you have. He's going to kind of think about what emotions. He knows how to do it. He will do it.
It's like, is it worth it?
But it's like, am I in the mood? I'm like, do I want to kind of do this thing? And also, I guess what I learned as like a puppy daddy father is like I remember like you used to comment on his butt a lot, which was kind of weird.
He had a bit of a problem. I mean, you really want to open this up right now? I mean, it looked like he had a third eye on his backside just staring at you, and you're like, what the?
Maybe some people want to know if they're going through.
Does he like lick it all the time?
He was licking his butt. So crazy, in fact, that he would be walking. Well, first I thought he was doing it to get attention from other dogs when he was walking around, because other dogs liked it, because he had like that baboon butt going on, and he'd give it a little shake, and they were all about the sniffs. But then he would just be like, too much, because that was another thing at the dog park. You have like 4 dogs just following his butthole. But
so how'd you fix it?
It was an allergy.
Oh.
And we ended up having to give him what they call like a catty shot. And it's like ketamine, and it's used to like, I guess, suppress.
Isn't that a tranquilizer?
Well, I don't know if it. Look, I'll investigate what they're shooting my dog up with. He goes to a vet that I trust.
It's like if there are any children out there
is it ketamine?
That are hearing that ketamine is an allergy medicine,
can we
please.
Look that up? Can we verify?
Please.
It's like catty shot. It's CADI for dogs.
Okay, that's definitely, if it's CAD, it's definitely not ketamine.
Yeah, that's right. It's not ketamine.
Just give him like a shot of ketamine.
I fucked up. Bro, anyways, look, it's a serum for him to stop itching. It's to affect the allergies. And he gets like a few shots, like 2 or 3 shots a year.
All right.
And that will suppress it for some months. Thanks, Art. Let me know if you find out what. Gosh, I'm looking bad as a puppy guy. Can I edit this one?
All right, so how do you deal with his hair? Because he's got like 2 of my dogs have hair. Theo's got like fur, so he's like shedding and whatnot. But like
we got a good dog groomer right now. But I don't know if you ever have you ever groomed him yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, you have, like, you say that like you do it on the regular.
Not anymore. I used to, but no, they're like.
I mean, I did it one time.
Yeah.
And quit. But that was his dog. So because it was like COVID. And that was like one of the hard things too. I was finding a dog groomer or getting him a haircut.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I just jumped into it. I was just like, this can't really be that hard. I just YouTube it, and we'll figure it out. Like, got the razor, and I went out there with him. And also, dude, it was probably the longest hair he's ever had. So if you know what a cockapoo is, and you let that hair grow out for, I don't know, like 8 months or something.
It gets all like matted, like they got dreads. Yeah,
there was like some dreads or whatever, and like it was like I got the razor, and I was doing it, and I may or may not have set up the camera for a video for Instagram by accident. I mean, I set it up, I was like, and maybe it was on there, maybe it's on my Instagram. It is. So it was just like, you know what I mean? It was just
it
like
just stopped.
The razor, like. It was like full blast, and so
did you need like sheep shears? Like, dude, seriously?
I know it took like 4 hours. And
you kept on going with, dude. I had to.
I know I had to get scissors out. I had to get the whole thing. I was like really working it. Plus, it's Rocco, so he's like biting me.
I was gonna ask if he was biting you.
I mean, he was getting pissed at sometimes. I was trying to be gentle. I was trying, talking to him. All the whole thing had treats.
Have you done the CBD thing
on dogs? Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
and it actually. He is like, I think he's got like a really high tolerance because I think I got the.
Did he get it?
Gave it to me.
Did he get into some of your gummies? You
gave me that model for the dog because you had like hung out with him. You're like, dude, please, next time he comes over, can you?
The shit works, man. Like, yeah.
Well, that's what I found out though, is that like you don't go with.
You got to use
suggested use because, well, not that you're supposed to like.
It's called like 5 times.
But Rocco can handle his shit, okay, and he was just kind of like, this ain't shit. So then like yeah. And then I maybe gave him a little bit more, and he took a nap. But we did get some anti-anxiety medicines from the vet, trazodone.
Okay,
you could get that for dogs.
I'm not familiar with it. Is that like a human thing too?
Yeah, you could get that. Yeah, humans could do it.
There you go.
There it is.
So I with Grizzly, he like broke his leg a couple years back, and he had, the collar on, he got surgery and like, so he's in recovery. And he was just like going crazy because like we had to keep him in a pen and like, he couldn't play with the other dogs. And so I found this CBD stuff and like I had a similar experience. Like you start with like a little and you're like, yeah, it's not doing anything. And then like more and more and more. and he like got zonked out for like a day at a time. Like you give him that shit, and he's just like, oh. But it totally helped with his recovery. I was like, it's like whatever keeps him chill and
whatever relax them. You can give them like you have to judging on their weight and everything like that, but you can give them like Benadryl. To like relax them, stuff like that. But the trazodone,
I didn't realize that Rocco was such a big drug user. I mean, given that he's Rocco from Boondock Saints, it makes a lot of sense.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
you fucking made that connection for me right now.
Yeah,
you're right. Have I done this to him?
There you go.
But
you subconsciously made him Rocco from Boondock Saints.
But that also came from traveling a lot too, because we bring him on planes, and you wanted him to be like chill because he can get like anxious. I wanted to be comfortable for him. Look, as prescribed, we took him to a doctor. We're doing this right. I'm not like buying on the streets for him.
Is he an emotional support animal?
Yes.
That's how you get him on planes?
Well, like he is, and so we can get on planes for that. Or else I think, well, it depends on what airlines are going on to, because I think they all have like different regulations, but like also for money wise. But he is an emotional support dog. Don't you think so?
Definitely, Chris. Yeah, definitely. He's right
dude,
up there.
I saw your face from the dude. Don't
whoever gave him his training.
What videos are this?
No, I've been going through your videos, bro. It's certifiable.
But that helps me. That helps my wife. We need that control. That gnawing on the hand is comforting. He's trained to do that. It is proven to settle you down and calm you.
I'm just gonna leave it. I'm not even picking that one up.
All right, you know what, dude? Fuck, gosh.
But see, that's the beautiful thing about dogs. I still love him. He's a great dog.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah,
and that's a crazy thing. I joke around a lot and stuff like that, but there's been some close calls or something that happens, and it just like my heart will drop if I feel like, because that's another thing too. If he gets loose, like a lot of times, like for example, we'll go outside and the car is right there, and I'll open up the door and he knows. Go on Rocco, he does this thing where he runs around the car once and he jumps in. He'll do it day after day.
You worry about a car coming by.
Boom, boom. No, but then sometimes this is where it comes in that I have to be careful. You get used to it, and then sometimes it's like he just like kind of stop, and then you'll like start taking a walk. He's like, I don't know if I want to do this circle thing that you're like thinking is our thing. You know what I mean? I'm fucking Rocco, man. I gotta go get some drugs. Get some streets. I'm fucking feeding right now. It's been a long time since that flight and that trazodone you gave me. I did want to also share once because we talked about growing up with dogs.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see this because I want to know if you remember. But do you remember G.I. Joe? My dog, G.I. Joe?
Barely. Dude, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. So I grew up with...
Was he a German Shepherd?
Yeah.
He was?
Yeah, he was.
Like
he was a German Shepherd cross. He wasn't a full. He was cross with a lab.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
So he was like smaller.
Yeah, but he was also also like looked really scary. Like you just saw him. Yeah. But
he get down. So I had the and I named him. So I was gonna say I had a cat too, but so this is gonna come to the story here. So G.I. Joe was my dog, and then I had a cat, Rambo.
Yep.
And so I was big into G.I. Joe
and Rambo.
Okay, so I was like what, like 7. G.I. Joe, Rambo. Loved all that. And so Rambo, do you remember Rambo?
Yeah.
Rambo was like, okay, so when I grew up, he wasn't an indoor cat. My dad was like, we're not going to have like the indoor cat. And I always bring him inside. I wanted him to like live inside, but he lived on the streets. And so Rambo would like, streets. He would leave, but he would always come back. And he would just like run the streets of Rutherford where we grew up, right? And he'd come back sometimes, like he'd been in a fight, he just like him, like, and he'd have like, his eye or scratch or like hair missing or something like that. But he looked like he won. Sweet cat. But what I'm really getting to is, so there's G.I. Joe. Now, G.I. Joe was obviously didn't run around the neighborhood. He was in our backyard. So Rambo would come back. And so what I found another day that I wanted my dad to explain to me is one time, I went outside. I heard like Rambo just like just like all this noise. I'm like, dude, is he fighting outside? Like, is there some shit going down in my home? Because I'm going to go out there. I'm going to help him. I go with a stick, grabbed a bat, I think, went outside. And then I saw him and G.I. Joe, and G.I. Joe was like on top of Rambo. And it was very like confusing setting for me at the time. But what was happening is they were having consensual.
They were lovers.
Loving it down. There was sexual healing, is what was going down.
So
between
that would
them.
be like Cobra taking advantage of Rambo. Is that like what was happening? It was like your crossover of like great 80s icons? Or is that like Dusty? I don't know.
Okay, so now you're making it like they were like real freaks. They were like role playing. Yeah. They were like, and so this went on. This wasn't just like a one instant. I'm like saying like I saw that. And I think my dad was also confused too. Like, we're both like, these are two different species. You don't think it should happen? And that really, dude, love is love, bro. I knew that like from the get-go and like accepted it. And they loved each other too. Like they would like sleep like next to each other and stuff like that. It became like this thing. So it was really sweet. And I guess like I kind of got like this, I don't know, like it was so funny because Rambo was such this like, he had such this masculine, or like, you know, he was like a Rambo, dude. He'd come from war. He'd come home from war and to see his lover, G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
And they would just have a great night. Yeah. And then, you know, and then ship out the next day.
So you're back.
For whatever war was there to battle. But,
going back on duty,
did
buddy.
Did you ever see that though?
I don't ever remember.
Did you block that out from like any like...
I don't know how I missed it, but bro, your parents like probably shielded me from it.
I showed you though, bro. Like I feel like back then it would have been a thing you want to show your friends.
This
you know?
is before iPhone,
like, dude. You guys
maybe they only felt comfortable in front of family. I mean, that's it. They don't want to come out to me. They're like,
yeah,
we can't show friends. This is just like.
Anyways, I thought
good story.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you all learned something new today.
Right now, we're going to get into horrible bosses. Joe is going to hit us with our first story.
I'm just going to read it.
I know you guys are ready.
Okay. So again, I will preface this by saying I don't know who wrote this, but if you have a horrible boss story, please let us know, and we will put it on the show, and I will comment on what I would probably do differently. So here we go.
Wait, I just want to say, so is that horrible.bosses@coppercane.com?
Oh, that's
what? Art? I thought that was. Is it horrible?
That's
bosses?
right. We got a certain email for it. We'll get it in a second.
Okay, we'll put it on the screen, but we're just going to get into the story.
All right. I worked at the same job for about 5 years and had no real issues. Actually, I really enjoyed my job. That was until a boss I really liked left, and then they hired a new bozo. This guy must have interviewed really well or had the best letter of recommendation, because to this day I don't understand how he got that job. Do hospitality managers and bouncers have some of the same qualifications? Maybe, perhaps, I don't know. This new guy had a split personality, one where he would be the nicest fake guy to customers and employees. The other was he would just have anger issues. Did I mention that he was a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? And once he found out I used to wrestle, he would sneak up on me and put me in hand locks, body locks, and even try to take me down. That's pretty awkward. One time I was able to squirm out and reverse a move on him. He was so mad I did that, that ever since that day, he made my life miserable. Sounds like he's got an ego problem. Started by him giving me bad shifts, calling me out for no reason, and it escalated to him stealing my lunch and putting my jacket in the trash. This guy was a psycho. He was basically a big crybaby trying to be a bully. He should have stuck to being a bouncer because he wasn't the brightest. And here's a follow-up to it, okay?
Okay, so I just want to say sometimes we get like the follow-up because we heard this shit and you're just like, holy shit. I'm like, dude, was this guy like rear naked choking you from behind? Like, anyways. Here.
Okay, he only did a rear naked choke once.
Just one time.
Just one, and it was very, quote unquote, delicate. But it was mostly hand locks, chimeras, and wrist locks. This guy sounds like a freak.
I just love that part. But it was delicate.
It was very delicate.
Like that. It's like, okay, go.
One time he was coming from the side, and I saw that. First of all, I don't know if this employee is a guy or a girl. I'm imagining a guy.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's
right.
A guy.
You know that. Okay.
Yeah.
One time he was coming from the side, and I saw that he was reaching for my arm. So I kind of rolled it and grabbed his arm instead and kind of swung through him across. Got him in an arm drag, sort of, but I didn't want to take him to the ground because I didn't want to get in trouble. He also hired a few of his buddies from the gym, and they would just do that all the time and kind of treated it like if they were in a gym environment. He was also starting Psalm 1 classes to learn more about wine because I felt like he was a little over his head. This gave him a huge ego and made him douchey because he would always try and reference his Psalm class. That's why I love Psalms. I'm holier than thou. Okay. I think he was a little insecure, and he just masked it with this bully persona he'd created. But hey, I don't really know the guy. Great.
Wait, why is it?
Great side up.
I don't really. Hey, I don't know him though. Just gonna be going through some shit.
I mean, first of all,
right,
we already
okay.
talked about this whole like when we had the swimwear thing. Like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't even like go up to trim or like tuck like any of the bikinis when we were like
Yeah.
in the fabrication mode.
Yeah.
So first of all, if you are a like a superior or anybody reports to you or whatever, you got to set the example, and don't touch people that are not like don't even work for you, and definitely don't touch people that work for you. That's a big no. I mean that
Yeah,
dude
I mean-
with our HR department, that dude would have been like cut, done.
Well, I mean, no matter like who you are, the whole thing is you shouldn't walk into work, right, not knowing if you're going to get arm barred,
Yeah.
put in a Kimura, or delicately choked.
I'm just trying to think like, okay, if I actually
We're always like, even if you came up behind me and I'm like in a meeting or whatever, and just like delicately put your arms around my throat. I mean, that like that's probably gonna turn into like, I don't know.
So if I actually did
wrestling
that
match.
to somebody, right, and they turned around and like hurt me, and I went and tried to like complain about it, like this guy, like it's like, well, what did you do? You're like, well, I didn't do anything, and then you get like the whole whoever office interviews and all that stuff. It's like, but I would actually feel like I deserve that. Like, what the hell was I thinking? I think people just don't have if this guy was actually a boss and he didn't have that like understanding of like how you treat humans, he missed something in his life. Maybe like a father or something. I don't know.
Well, it sounds like to me that he was kind of going from two different job roles, right? Because he was like it sounds like he had like a bouncer background.
I took
Or
it like there was.
physical
I
thing.
took it like there was that he kind of had that bouncer idea of himself,
yeah.
right? But like more that he was just like really prideful. So take the Psalm thing, right?
Yeah.
And also the fact that he was a black belt in Brazilian
Yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu. And so he always wanted to show those things off, right? Those
Yeah.
were his accomplishments in life. So he's like, I got to show everybody that I'm a black belt, and I got to show everybody that I know shit about wine because I'm going to my level 1 Psalm class. And so he's more of an egotistical maniac than
Yeah.
anything, right? So I would say just watch out for those people. I mean, when we hire people, it's like you leave your ego at the door, and that's it. Like I dealt with a lot of egos in my life, and both in male and female form. They're just not worth it. They always cause trouble. They're always like just a pain in the ass. It's like if you can't control your ego, get the fuck out. It's easy.
Also
So-
physical stuff. I think you made a great point too, especially like not only as a boss, but just like everyone in the workforce, team, whatever, this whole idea of, you got to be mindful of people's personal space,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't just go into that stuff. I mean, and also if other people are around and seeing it, right? I mean, that's kind of also, you're in a leader position. You're doing those kind of things, showing other people that that's okay.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. It's that when you're in those positions, I'm thinking that
You gotta
it's
set the
important.
example.
Set the example.
That's the responsibility part of
Yeah.
power, right? So if you have any power over anybody, you have to be much more responsible.
I do have one question for you though, before we in this one. What about the other way? Have you ever had problems with, employees or whatever being physical with you? Like maybe
Like in that
they're-
weird way.
They just
I've only had some people jump on my back and shit like
did
that. But
anyone
no,
ever
it's
jump on your back?
it's all right. It's all right.
And Reg, you're like, dude, I'm sorry. All right, like I thought it was okay. Like I was.
And what did I do? I didn't drop you because I'm
Look,
setting the example.
I have my wine set one. All right, like I feel really confident that I could jump on your back. No, just kidding. I don't. But hey,
No, actually, no, I really haven't had like. I think I put off the right vibe, like so people don't like come up and touch me awkwardly and shit.
Yeah.
So,
you don't put on the
again,
vibes that you
setting
wanna
the
be touched.
example. Like
Yeah.
if I was walking around touching people, like, "How are you?" Stroke their arm or something. It's
Yeah.
like that's going to be a whole different thing.
Yeah, totally. All right.
All right. Well, hey,
Sweet, there it is.
that's
was a good
it.
One.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Till next time.
Till next time.
Go with your palate. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Send us some messages if you guys got content or whatever you want us to cover. We love being interactive. Happy we are finally getting these things out there. We got the new podcast studio. This is our first actual use of the. I know
Thank
we
you.
didn't mention
Yeah.
that. So we got a little more technology in here. So we're going to be doing this on a regular basis. And it should be fun, but we want your feedback.
Yeah,
Let's hear it.
We weren't trying to peacock, but hey, dude, we're in a fucking studio. That's awesome. All right, maybe we'll talk about that sometime, how that all got built. And stuff
Just
like
grab
that
one of the
later.
cameras and just like
Yeah.
show. 'Cause it's like
All right.
actually not that. It's pretty quaint, but yeah, it looks good.
All right.
All right, signing off.
Peace.